exactly. So yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming on board and doing your
Oh
part,
yeah.
though, man. That's a big step. It's a big move, and it's very
Yep.
honorable. I do have some questions about your separation board. Um, what kind of information did you bring into that board to show these individuals? Because so usually, when I went to my board, you have yourself a military lawyer, or you can get a civilian if you want, right? And then there's the government lawyer that goes in there, and you guys kind of hash it out a little bit. But the individuals that are on the board watching everything to make the decision, right? It's usually 4 or 5 individuals. I don't really recall, but you might have some individuals with some ranks. You got a couple officers, a couple enlisted, right, with higher ranks, and then you go in there. Your lawyers do their thing. You might speak on your behalf. You have your packet. You talk about stuff. You might answer some questions from the members of the board. And then once that's all over, you leave, and then they make a decision. You hear your decision, and then for most of us, we lose the board because that's how corrupt it is. But was that kind of how your board looked? And then what did you bring to the floor?
So structurally, yes, that's pretty much how mine looked. It was a board of 3 individuals, a higher ranking officer, a lower ranking officer, and a staff NCO. And there was one lawyer for the command side, and then I had 2 lawyers for me. They were Marine Corps JAG, a captain, and his lieutenant assistant that were both assigned to my case. They were great. That was really my first and only experience with the JAG. I know, with the episode from Sam Shoemate and everything going on there, there's a lot to be said. I believe all of that. I didn't experience it. They were great. I think they did it about as well as they were going to. It was clear to me that they were on my side, personally. Not just client, based type stuff like that. Like they did not like my first sergeant. They made that clear to me in private. Um, so it made it easier to deal with them actually because they could see some of the same things I was seeing.
Right.
But so they were very careful. They had an opportunity to keep the vaccine refusal stuff away from the official narrative of the board.
Okay.
So what we discussed on the board were all of my many thousands and hundreds of thousands of failings. Most of that evidence was completely removed and disregarded. Out of the things that were, say, valid, 2 of them had to do with helping a Marine out in a very sticky situation. I won't elaborate just because of them. And the other one was fabricated about me missing some run that they did recently. I think it was a battalion run. So you would think they would know if I was there or not. So they were very careful about how they went about it. My first sergeant at the time, he was some motor T guy that came over to the infantry and tried to change us into him. He had some JV law degree from his time in the Marine Corps from an online school and thought he knew just everything. He was the one that pushed for us for turning in our uniforms and stuff like that. He was the one that berated individuals for that, not just for their religious exemptions, but for pending NCIS investigations that turned out to be baseless, right? Stuff like that, right? This is the person that was in charge of us for that.